Tits, Knobs and Swearing, Love, Death and Robots, is a new anthology series on Netflix. It's a spoonful of Black Mirror here and a dash of Rick and Morty there, but unlike Black Mirror, it doesn't, as one Reddit user eloquently put it, make you want to hang yourself after every episode. Each episode showcases a different animation style and theme, which allows for some very original and experimental moments that are a genuine breath of fresh air for a tired and overworked medium. Hence the Rick and Morty comparison. It has been beaten to the punch by Rick and Morty on a couple of occasions, and the ideas presented here are not quite as deft, but it's new and interesting enough to keep you engaged throughout. Even if the series peak, Zima Blue, is literally had for breakfast by Rick and Morty.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Love, Death and Robots doesn't overstay its welcome at all, which again is a big plus, and the unrestricted format allows the creators to experiment with episode length and tone, which allows for some very memorable and funny moments.
Oh, you're gonna die now. Bummer.
What? Why did humans even consort with these hairy murder machines?
Case in point, the 6-minute episode about a yogurt taking over human civilization and propagating into space. This is juxtaposed with a harrowing war story about a band of Russian soldiers fighting hordes of demonic monsters that are like something straight out of Metro 2033. The show has a lot going in its favour, and is definitely worth your time, even as it helps itself to a generous serving of the source material that clearly inspired it. If you've seen Big Hero 6, or Blade Runner, or played Borderlands,
5 minutes to objective. Stay sharp, metalhead.
Prey, or Dishonored,
That's it then.
then there won't be a lot that's visually new to you. But the show does a good job reimagining things, so you enjoy the ride even if you can work out the finish. One significant benefit to the anthology format is the creative opportunity it affords small-time and indie creators. Think the movie VHS, but more consistently good. Every episode was made by different teams from a range of countries, and there's a surprising amount of cultural diversity on show. The short stories are all unique and for the most part interesting, exploring a wide variety of settings, including a steampunk version of China at one moment and deep uncharted space the next. Characters are well realised, and the show is good at communicating motivations despite the short time available per episode.
Please. It's an order.
One downside is that some episodes feel de-emphasised due to an apparently smaller budget when compared to the others. The episode Sucker of Souls being the obvious weak link in the visual department. Compare this to the considerably more bland Lucky 13, which feels like a Halo B story about a spunky Pelican pilot. The biggest problem with the show, and again I don't hate it at all, I pretty much binged the whole thing, so don't get me wrong,
Oh, that was amazing! How was it for you? Tell me everything.
is how it all feels a bit Rule 34-ish.
You wanna see some pussy?
Take a shot every time there's a knob or boobs on the screen, and you're gonna have a bad time. When you have an episode with 2 naked werewolf boys wrestling out there in the moonlight, you can see they had a certain audience in mind. I'm not hating, I just feel that sometimes the nudity feels a bit porny and edgy, and I haven't even mentioned the swearing.
What the fuck? We are fucking lost, aren't we?
What? Fuck you, Suey.
Plenty of adult animations involve swearing.
How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Darcy?
Characters in BoJack have said more or less every swear word at some point or another.
Fuck you, Mom.
I assumed you weren't still a massive cunt.
Jesus Christ, Joelle.
That's an okay thing to say in England.
Suck a dick, dumb shits.
But it doesn't litter the script because that's just not how adults talk in real life. That's how 15-year-old edgelords talk.
I'm a man.
Take the excessive language and add to it some cringy Victorian Cockney accents, and it starts to get really distracting.
It's cunts like you that fucked her up to begin with.
Jim Jiminy, Jim Jiminy, Jim Jim Chiroo. Good luck, we'll rub off when I shake hands with you.
Hopefully in a second series, this will calm down a bit as they feel less like they have something to prove.
Stop being a whiny pussy and fucking bounce it. Please.
My overall verdict is to definitely check this one out. If you want, read the premises and pick and choose each episode, but I recommend just going with the first one and letting it play through. If it isn't working for you, just skip ahead and watch the next one. It would be good to see this kind of content getting the views on Netflix, so they can make more shows like this, and less shit like this. They do seem to be catering to a pretty wide audience now across all their original content, which is totally fine, as long as they keep the balance towards original ideas and not derivative rubbish.
Somebody will come along.